drinks with dinner before this video was shot. It was kind of off the cuff. It was just an experience of what happened. If I say some weird things or I describe things like calling the fastback the oval, I did that a couple times, please give me a break. And of course, like the video and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been getting some smiles from you guys for real life experiences. Here's one. The fastback got a flat tire as I went out for some Mexican food with Wild Bill from the Rare Air Volkswagen Club. And I heard when I got here that the oval was making a loud whooshing sound as I pulled into the parking lot. The car was driving fine. I didn't find anything wrong with it, but the first thing I thought was, you know, the fuel line had some residual pressure in it and there's gas spraying out everywhere. And when I looked, I didn't find it. And it was echoing off the car next to it, so I thought it was the car next to it. But anyway, as I looked more closely, I discovered there's a screw in the tire. So anyway, using my cheap Harbor Freight compressor, which I got for a lovely $10, totally worth every dollar that I spent on it. It's refilling that tire, it's bringing it back to shape, and I mean that tire was sitting on the rim. It was flat, completely flat. I've been waiting probably about 10 minutes to fill up. It looks like it's about like 5 PSI, and it's going to take probably about another 10 to 20 minutes to fill up. That sucks that you got to wait about 30 minutes to fill a tire with it, but you know what? That's 30 minutes you don't have to walk to get home. Do I carry a spare? Yeah, I've got a spare. But the spare that I've got is a real piece of crap, so I don't use it. I just haven't bothered to ever deal with it. But I'm not far from home, and I don't usually take the car too far from home. And anything that I break, I can fix. So I'm not even the least bit worried about it. Now, if you've been watching my videos, you know I use this compressor to fill my air shocks. And it reads 2 to 1. So whatever the gauge says is actually only doubled what it actually is in there. So right now we're pushing a little over 20. So it's got about 10 PSI. I'm going to run it up to probably about 40 to 50 just to give it a little extra air in it. Even though Volkswagen only recommends that you get about 20 PSI in the back, 21, something like that. It's not very much. But I'm going to overfill it on purpose. These tires are designed to hold up to 36, 40 PSI, but I won't be running them that heavy or that hard normally. I just want to have a little extra air in it to make sure I get home. I'm just glad that that tire didn't come off the rim. There's Wild Bill. I'm glad he was here helping. There's Rusty. And then to add insult to injury, my phone battery died. This is my work phone right now that I'm using to catch a video on this. Still waiting for this sucker to fill up. Not particularly fast. Not fast at all. But for 10 bucks, what do you expect? It works! So Wild Bill's bus is Rusty, the Pink Floyd Magic bus with the high top on it. And if you guys know who he is, and you might, I mean, he gets around. He travels to shows all over the country, and he drives his bus. But that's Wild Bill VW, and yes, he does have his own YouTube channel. Say hi, Bill. Hello, Bill. Just introducing you in your YouTube channel.
Oh, excellent.
Refresh me as to what it is. Wild Bill VW, is it?
Yes, Wild Bill VW. Can't miss it.
The link is right here.
Yeah, it's gonna be. We'll have 2 margaritas later, anyway.
2 $2 margaritas.
Yeah,
later.
it's funny.
That's it. Got in there before happy hour. I'll show you the photo. I got all 4 on my fist before Bill showed up.
Yeah. I'm glad I showed up. They didn't drink every one of the son of a bitches.
If you waited any longer, I would have.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're calling it quits. It's at 40. Which in the real world is about 20, and it's not going up anymore. And I think that's because the screw in the tire is letting out the air as fast as this thing could possibly push it in. So I think we've hit a moment of equilibrium. So we're gonna disconnect this thing and hurry to get this thing home and hope we make it there before it goes flat again. Here we go.
What year is that, man?
It's a 68.
68?
68.
That's so damn cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool car. Well, anyway, I gotta get home before the tire goes flat.
I can imagine that. How far you gotta go?
Not far.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you can hear it, but that's the screw in the tire, and it's loud. Tick, 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 tick. Hoping I'm making it home before it gets flat. I really need to get a spare for this car. Really do. I think I've got a good one at home, actually. I just got to dig around through my junk. Yeah, it's starting to go flat. Don't have too much further to go. Less than a mile. Tick, 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 tick. Yep, it's going flat. Starting to bulge out on the bottom. I hear it hissing. Don't know where. It's at. It might be parked on top of it. Yeah, I think I'm on top of it. Anyway, I gotta get back in the shed before it goes completely flat. There it is, hissing away. It actually looks like it's a bolt. It's flat. Alright, shut her down. Something for me to deal with tomorrow. Alright, there it is. We're gonna pull that sucker out. Got me a set of vice grips. I always like grabbing these things with vice grips because you can get a good grip, lock it in, and then wiggle it all about. This is one of the few times I was lucky enough to be able to change one of these. I was able to remove it while it was still on the car. There it is. And yes, it's a bolt. Looks like something from Honda. There's a lot of those kinds of bolts on my Honda that I used to have. And imagine that, it doesn't even have a sharp end on it. In fact, it's rounded. Well, gotta replace it. You guys have seen me do this a few times before in the past if you've been watching. Get yourself a plug ready. Just like that, ready to go. Get your reamer, which really its only purpose is to chew up the hole a little bit. Alright, just like that. Take the plug that we set up, get some rubber cement coated on it. Not too much to this, really. And remember, I've mentioned that I always get a flat on the driver's side rear on the Z, and it's just a funny coincidence that that's exactly what happened here in the Volkswagen. And I've never gotten a flat on a fastback before. This is actually the first one. Alright, you take this and you get it ready to go in that hole. And I do the same thing I've been doing every weekend when I go out. You plug it. Make sure you get it in all the way, and then very quickly snatch it back out. Now the plug went in a little further on one side than it did on the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the little bit of excess that's over there, but I'm not going to cut it off flush. I don't like doing that because when you drive this entire plug is going to mushroom out, and it's going to get forced into that hole. If you flatten it out, it loses that ability to mushroom and pack itself in, so you might wind up losing the plug down inside the tire. So I always leave a little bit sticking up off the top. But yeah, I'll get a little set of angled cutters and I'll snip that right off. And cut that right off of there. I'm going to use my angled cutter, but I don't know where the hell it's at. But this works just fine too. Yeah, get off the little piece of junk, let the little plug stick out, and now we're ready to put air in them. I hate this, it's so damn noisy. This thing's got a leak I need to fix. I had to check the documentation, but apparently the rear PSI is supposed to be between 24 and 27. I thought it was more like 20. But I think I was confused because the last time I put air in it, I kept them around 30. I like the rear tires to be a little harder. And I like a little more grip in the front because for some reason I have excessive understeer on this car. And I'd rather have the rear end be a little more slippery and the front end be a much more grabby. So overinflate the rear and underinflate the front. That should be enough to do it. Checking. It's just a hair over 30. I think we're good. I'm going to put a little soapy water on there and make sure she's not leaking. I'm pretty confident it's good, and if it is, we're going to go for a ride. Alright, go ahead and put some, and of course, you guys like these real life videos, my sprayer doesn't want to spray. Piece of junk. Anyway, soapy water, that's all this is. I'm not seeing any bubbles at all. No, we're good. We are effectively repaired. Let's knock this sucker off the jack and go take it for a ride.